What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? Everybody good? Adrian's kind of frozen, people. We got some people hopping on. I'm glad y'all are coming on tonight. It's going to be kind of exciting, very informative. Please keep an open mind. Please keep an open mind. Um, Janai's not with us tonight due to some unforeseen circumstances. Eric's not with us tonight due to some unforeseen circumstances. And Adrian, the DJ all night, is going to be in and out. As you can see, he's in Cabo having a good time. So I don't know if his internet is going to hold up long enough or be stable enough. So he'll be in and out. But tonight we're going to talk about ethical non-monogamy. I first heard this term from this person that is on the screen. I've known this person since I was a teenager back at Plainfield, New Jersey, hanging out in the summers with my family and whatnot. So she's a real cool, I'm gonna say chick.
All
Nah,
right.
she's
I can go with that. I'm good
a
with that.
grown ass woman. She's
Yeah.
very cool, a professional. And this topic is something that she and I discussed about a year ago. She was
Yeah.
educating me. We talked about it, kicked it around, talked about doing a show for it. And it didn't materialize at that time. But now we seem to have made time for it. And we'll get into it. So, Deb, if you want to just tell everybody a little of your background or whatever you want to share, we'll start with that. And then we'll get into the topic. And hopefully you can educate us. And some people might be something that they enjoy already. I don't know. People might be in the closet with it.
You'll be surprised with the
Oh,
statistics and the numbers, right? Right?
yeah.
So, and I brought some statistics too. So, but I brought
Okay.
my drink. I got
All
some
right.
whiskey
Most
and
definitely.
tea,
Most
some
definitely.
cheap whiskey and tea.
It's still Lent, so I'm still on this water, a little coffee.
Okay.
But I got to the 28th. The 28th is the last day, so I'll be back at my cigars and my alcohol a little bit, hopefully in moderation. True moderation. That's the
Okay.
part of the plan. So
Well, I'm just
um,
happy that you invited me to your front porch.
I'm glad that you're here.
And
Finally.
I know, right? Finally. I mean, ethical non-monogamy is a hot thing. Um, and there's some levels to it. So let me just about myself. I guess I would be the less likely or the least likely person somebody would see being in a ethically non-monogamous relationship.
Yeah.
Um, I'm what you would call monogamish or ambiamorous, which is, I'm okay with either polyamory or what they call ethical non-monogamy or monogamy. So I met my partner during COVID. It was like in 2020. Um, in my industry, a lot of things were shutting down. So I was at home, and a friend said, "Hey, you should, start dating," and helped me with my dating app and my dating site, and got me up and running. And I met my partner, and he
Yeah.
mentioned that he was, um, ethically non-monogamous. And I was like, "Oh, so you just out here just doing your thing. That's what we call it in the monogamy world. You just out here doing your thing." And that's exactly how I thought about it. Um, until he and I became more serious and I actually started living the life of a woman who's dating a polyamorous man. So we're going in what 4 years now.
Okay.
4 years. He's
Okay.
been polyamorous for over a decade. So for him, it's it's an identity. For me, it's a practice.
Okay.
So I still identify as monogamous. I so happen to practice polyamory, but for me, it's not an identity like it is for him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all right, I heard you say that, when it came out, you met him, he told you so and you said you just out here doing your thing. What kind of brought you around and made you relax a little bit to the idea?
So yeah, you know, I never saw it as a problem. um, that he had other romantic and sexual partners. But the way, we manage our relationship is what they call a monopoly relationship.
Okay.
Um, and one of the things I have to say about people who are truly ethically non monogamous is whatever is good for the goose is good for the gander. I'm very leery of men. Usually it is men, what they call it the one penis policy. I can have romantic and sexual relationships with everybody else, but you women have to be monogamous to me. That's not polyamory. That's not ethical, or consensual um, polyamory. That's more of something that's called just non-monogamous. You're just non-monogamous. And why don't we just start with the term? You
Terms. Yeah,
know,
let's get the terms
yeah.
down.
Yeah,
So
please, because
ethical.
I'm like confused. But go ahead.
Or so ethical. So it's like ethical non-monogamy, and sometimes it's called consensual non-monogamy. So the ethical part of it is everybody knows that you're dating multiple people, or you have the option of dating multiple people. So
Right.
nobody's in the dark about what you're doing, right? Nobody's in the dark. Nobody's being lied to. And the non-monogamy, of course, is that you are engaging in more than one romantic and sexual relationship concurrently, right?
Mhm.
So, when you say ethical non-monogamy, there's so much under that umbrella. That's an umbrella. That's
Okay.
an umbrella term. You have your swingers, you have your thruples, you have your triads, you have your monopoly relationships like I am. You have your hierarchical, you have your relationship anarchist, you have your solo poly. But the main thing all of these categories have in common is the ethical part. You have to let the folk know, look, I'm not only dating and being romantic and sexual with you, I'm doing, the same thing with other people.
Got you. Got you.
I'm having these other relationships.
So it's basically what dudes is doing or females are doing when they creeping with somebody. They just keeping it a secret and not exposing it
Yeah,
and
that's
dealing
cheap.
with and dealing what is happening, and then we call it cheating, for
Well,
lack of a better word.
it
But you
depends,
all aren't
like,
cheating because it's known. You know what I'm
right,
saying? We know
right.
this is what we practice. It's cool. You know. Now, what type of rules and boundaries do you set within your home and outside of your home? Because,
Yeah,
like,
that's important.
what if you got
Yeah.
with some dude and he falls in love now? It's like, oh my god, how's he gonna handle that, or how do you handle that? How would
So,
you all handle that?
yeah, that's a good question. So, um, my partner and I, we practice what they call hierarchical polyamory. Now, let me be real with you guys. The ethical non-monogamy world can be real snobs and gatekeepers, right? They
Mm-hmm.
have certain people have their way of doing it, and if you're not doing it their way, then it's not the right way. And I even have my own little snobbish ways too, and I'll get to that later. But excuse me, let's be clear about something. There can be cheating in ethical non-monogamy too,
Okay.
and that's when the
Okay.
ethics drop off. Like, because we do have agreements. We're not just out here, doing what we want to do. That's just not how that works.
Okay.
So in our dynamic, we have agreements. We have agreements like friends. Friends are off limits. You'd be surprised how many people jump into this ethical non-monogamy and they're sleeping with everybody. That's just not how we roll. It's you stay away from friends. My friends, your friends, they're off limits. One of the big boundaries I have that he has too is we spend a lot of time together.
Okay.
So, you know, when I got into this, I purposefully told him I didn't want him to tell me anything about it. I wanted to do my own research. I wanted to see what I felt about it, you know. So one of the agreements is that we spend a lot of time together. he made it clear weekends are our night. Weekend nights are ours.
Yeah. So
So
no other type activities on weekends.
no, well, not in the
Okay.
evenings. And so we date. We have Tuesday evenings, which start at 4, and
Mm-hmm.
into the next morning at 7. Sometimes we have had partners that sleep over. We have sleepovers. So we date on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and sometimes on Saturday during the day, but not Friday night, not Saturday night, not Sunday night. We spend a
Yeah.
significant amount of time together. And quite frankly, I like those nights, even when I'm not dating anyone. Those are my nights to catch up on work, do my
Mm-hmm.
nails, eat, just my self care. Um, but a lot of people don't believe in hierarchy. I am his priority partner. You know, he is my priority partner. We also have a rule about sexual safety. How are we out here in this world? Condoms and regular testing is a big thing, and especially in
Okay.
this community.
Wow. Okay. I'm trying. Adrian, you got a question yet, man? Hey, those of y'all that are watching, come on, man. Y'all shoot some questions. Please join in the chat. We want to see your comments. We want to get this thing popping.
Well,
Um,
let's talk to some people. I'm sure in your chat, when I was reading some of those comments, I
yeah,
was
that's what I'm
laughing
saying. We had
because,
a gang of
listen,
comments when I put up the question, but now they're like crickets in here.
Yeah,
well,
everybody don't want to be out there.
well, I'm going to put them out there. I'm going to put them out there. Let's look at some stats, right? So I want to make something clear. Monogamy is just as viable as polyamory. This is not some alternative stuff that you just jump into and ruin your marriage. This is some other level stuff. You can't, it's like jumping in the deep end of a pool and not knowing how to swim.
Yeah.
Sometimes, people get so eager and they think this is all about sex, which is funny because yes, sex is involved, but it takes a lot of scheduling too and a lot of agreements, but let's talk about something. 5% of Americans are currently in open relationships. Okay. Of people who are polyamorous, 41.6% that they're happy in their relationship. And I'm sure the way the media is portraying, and especially people, they're like, "Oh, you're fucking all day. You're having sex. You got all these people. Oh, you would think that number would be higher, right?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, but only 41.6% are saying, "Yeah, we all right. We're cool with it." You know. So because I want to put some real, like a reality check on it too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they say that 32% of Americans believe that an open relationship is morally okay. So, but you got to look at who's saying that. I'm thinking those are people under 30.
Mm-hmm.
People who are under 30, because those numbers decrease as you get older. And, especially in my age group, I'm a middle-aged lady. I'm like 55. And when they talk about people in my age group um, who are interested in this, it's only 7%.
Reggie said, I'm still not understanding why get married. Just continue to date, whether it's about sex or not.
Yeah, that's a good question, though. I mean, that is a good question because, people still have their person. People still say, you know what? Like, for example, my partner and I, we're life partners. We're going to be in it until he dies, right? Um, and so we still want that connection. Not all connections are the same. So some people like sexual, freedom. They like sexual variety. That's what they like. Just like there are some people who want to be monogamous and they feel secure and comfortable in monogamy. Not everybody wants to be monogamous. Not everybody is kind of wired, you know what I mean, to be monogamous. Um, Not everybody also just wants to be out there dating. My partner says he likes the idea of having his person, having his life partner. We do everything together. To the outside world, we would look like a monogamous couple.
Mm-hmm.
We would look like a monogamous couple. And so that's how we live our lives, because he wants that. I also want to be in a relationship with somebody who's my person, doing the hard stuff, the day-to-day stuff. But I get that a lot from monogamous people. Why not just be out there? Because it's not always just about, being out there until you find your person. Sometimes it's like I said, my partner identifies as polyamorous. That's his identity. That's his identity. Just like I strongly believe I'm monogamous.
Question. So how do you all's other people feel?
Yeah, that's a. Oh, hold on.
Okay.
Get your drink. Get your drink. Get your drink.
Go get your drink.
Okay. So my all we can do is be honest. And that's what the ethical part is to be honest.
Okay.
You have to be honest with the people who we consider what we call secondary partners. And that's a whole nother conversation. So I'm identified as his primary partner. He's my primary partner. Secondary partners, as long as they know what our boundaries and agreements are, we can't control how they feel ultimately. They have the choice, though, to stay or to leave. I've heard some horror stories. I've had incidents where I'm like raising an eyebrow to certain things that are being done. But ultimately, it's my partner who has to maintain his relationships in a way that honor our agreements. And same for me. When I was dating, when I had a secondary partner, my secondary partner also had his partners. He identified as polyamorous. But I maintained my agreements, condom use every time we have sex. We're not holding each other out to the public like that's my man, you're my woman. That's, some people do catch feelings. Some people are like, but I love you, I want you. And you have to hold firm to your agreement to your primary partner.
All right.
Oh, here's a good one. Do y'all approach potential lovers while you're out together? So that's okay. So that's more swinging. That's more of a swingers kind of MO. No, we do not. We don't date together. We date separately. We don't what they call unicorn hunt. Unicorn hunting is when a couple will go looking for typically a bisexual woman. And see, remember I was telling you guys, like I have this, my own little issues with certain things.
Mm-hmm.
That's my issue, with couples who go out, their intentions are not pure. Their intentions are not honest. And they're out looking for typically a woman who is young, typically unattached, typically bisexual, so that they can fulfill their fantasies. But they don't tell the young woman that, they're not saying, hey, we're just in this to have fun. They sell the story. But and to be fair, sometimes it works on the other end. Sometimes these young women are out here like, yeah, that, I'm sitting here in a trailer, but I'm looking at this couple. If I sleep with both of them, I could live in their mansion. So there's some exploitation that comes with some of these dynamics too. But I mean, that could be the case for monogamy too. Any relationship can have a potential of exploitation. Mm-hmm. But no, to answer the question, we do not approach people and date people while we're out. That's one of our agreements. When we're together, we're together. This is not the time to go out there trolling and dating other people. We're each other's partner for that night.
All right. Reggie said, is it a definition of marriage of two people becoming one? And said, this is not a judgment, just trying to get to where I understand your definition of marriage.
Sure.
And then he
So
had
yeah,
another.
so Reggie, I don't think you're being judgmental. I don't take any question that's going to be posed this evening as a judgment. So I just want your fans, your followers to know this is the perfect time to ask the tough questions. I'm good, right?
Mhm.
So let's talk about marriage. Yeah, marriage is two people becoming as one. I still agree with that. I still believe that a marriage is when two people get together as one. Now, the question is what does that one mean and what does that one look like? And one for me would be these are our agreements as a couple. This is how we're maintaining our household. That doesn't make us any less of a couple that is cohesive and aligned. We just so happen to have a different way of relating and wanting to relate with each other and with other people. So, monogamous folk, and here's another thing, like with monogamy, it's such a default that when people get into monogamous relationships and then eventually get married, they don't talk about what does our relationship look like? Because even in monogamy, somebody says, well, we're one, but what does that mean? You can have a different idea of how you're going to raise your children. You may have a different view of whether or not you're going to have children. You may have a different view of religion. You may have a different view of a lot of things, finances. So, when you become one, it's more of what type of communication style that you have with that person, what kind of connection you have with that person, and what agreements that you make with that one person. So you still can be married and operate as one.
Okay.
Does that answer Reggie's question?
I hope so. We'll see when he responds. Um,
What type of I hate to say backlash. Um, but I guess I'm just like thinking, what type of, for lack of a better word, hate do you receive when it's known that you are, uh, let me get the terms right.
non-monogamous.
Now, yeah, ethically non-monogamous. Or do you
That's a
even get
good.
any hate? Or how does that do you even get any hate, so to speak?
So I normalize it. I don't lie. I'm open but let me be clear. I'm open because I can be open. I am who I am. Anyone who has known me for any length of time will know that I will live authentically. And what that means is
That's facts.
like I will tell you, so when my friends say, hey, where's your partner? And by the way, the reason why I'm calling him partner is because, he didn't agree to be here. So he's lurking on the other side, like signing stuff. But so I'm keeping I'm keeping his name out of it. But yeah, when somebody says, hey, where's your partner? I'm like, oh, he's out on a date. And we move on, we keep it pushing. And I mean, my friends will at the beginning, they're like, what did you just say? And I'm like, he's out on a date. What? And then it opens the conversation. And then now, let me be clear. Now, 4 years in, my friends are like, oh, yeah, I know he's going to be out, so I'm going to call you. Miss Brown is like, woo! um, but yeah, like my friends now will say, like sometimes our schedule will change and they'll call and I'm like, hey, he's here and we're doing whatever. And they're like, oh, but isn't tonight your date night? And I'm like, yeah. So now it is pretty much normalized. Can I share something too? It's very hard for people who are monogamous to grasp this concept. It's not easy, Everything we do is so what we call mononormative. It celebrates, being with one person, being monogamous to that person. But come on, when we look at the divorce rate, we know that's a farce, right? We know that that's not, unfortunately, that's not always the case. And I'm not trying to bash monogamy because, like I said, I still consider myself monogamous, but we have to be real. We have to be realistic with each other. In terms of another part of backlash, being ethically non-monogamous is not a protected class, like being, gay. So yes, people in the military could very well lose their jobs. If a person is dating a married person, and even though it's ethically non-monogamous, and that married person's partner or spouse, in particular a spouse, knows, they still can, sue for divorce and sue for alienation of affection. So you can end up in court over this ethical non-monogamy, so you got to be careful. Like, that's the real about it too.
So, I mean, you and your partner are officially married?
No.
Or
we've both,
okay. Okay.
He was married for 20 years. I was married for 5. Of course, well before we met each other and divorced. I am not interested in doing it over. He's not interested in doing it over, but we're very much committed.
Reggie had another question. He said, okay, this is what I consider a tough question. Maybe not to you, but what if your partner wanted to build his own finances on the side? Where are the boundaries? Is it just in the dating aspect?
So, that's good. I mean, that's a good question. And he's kind of joining us in the background. I'm not saying you're going to say anything, but, he's walking in. But so in terms of finances, yeah, we
He
have
just said
started
scrap
to.
the financial question. He just came
Oh,
back
he
to
said, scrap it? Why?
Yeah, I
Why,
don't know.
Reggie?
Just go ahead. Go ahead and answer it. Go ahead and
No,
answer it, though.
the way we do our finances, right, is that we're
Right now.
gradually combining our finances. We do have some financial entanglements, but that's not the case for everybody. And let's be honest. There are some monogamous married couples who should not be entangling their finances. So entanglement of finances does not make a happy monogamous or any other kind of relationship, right? There are some people who get married to people who cannot balance a checkbook. So, it depends on the couple and how they want to engage financially.
Are you finding more people that are, I guess, siding with ethical non-monogamy?
Okay, I'm siding with it. Like in what?
Yeah,
What do you mean?
like, oh, that's a great idea. Let me, I guess, present that to.
Mm, no,
Not
I
really.
think it's still a little taboo.
Mm-hmm.
I have friends who ask a lot of questions about how my partner and I manage our day-to-day lives. No, not people are not running up talking about, yo, how can we sign up for the,
Right.
people are not.
Because you seem to be like the queen of this now, so it's like everybody's gonna like come to you and be like, "Oh, queen, I got questions about this and that." And
Yeah,
this. So I was just wondering if that was, as through your conversations with your friends, is that
no,
something that is
no. So, with my friends, not, people are saying things like, that's interesting. Some friends say, yeah, that's cool. That can't be me. I get a mixed bag of responses. I have friends who have said, hey, you know what? How does this work? Because I don't know whether they're thinking about that for their own relationship, but I'm always open to talk about how it works. And then, of course, it helps that when they see my partner and I engaging on a day-to-day basis, on a regular basis, they're like, y'all are just like a normal couple. Because, in the media and in people's minds, they think we're like this hot and heavy, oversexed couple trolling the streets when, let me tell you, he's 61, I'm 55, and we really are like a normal couple. He's folding laundry now.
Well, our partner, our
You know,
co-host Eric Salim isn't with us, but he's with us.
oh, good.
And he has a question down there. If y'all take a look at it, what boundaries ensure that the relationships don't get
What
crushed
what
by the other relationships?
boundaries ensure the other relationships? Okay, well, our boundaries serve our relationship, and the purpose is, to maintain our primary relationship. And those boundaries are articulated. Those agreements and boundaries are articulated to our seconders. And it's up to us to be honorable. It's up to us to honor the agreements that we've made to each other or with to the other person.
He also says there are checklists that must be satisfied before another relationship can proceed. So they're like some things you all gotta discuss, and you gotta check the other person
Yeah,
off.
I wouldn't call it a checklist. Yeah, I would not call it a checklist because one of our big agreements is we do not control who the other dates.
Okay.
We don't have what they call veto power. He could date somebody I can't stand, but I don't have the right to tell him, you got to break up with her because I don't like her.
Yeah.
The only thing that is a must is, one, she can't be a friend of ours. Like we don't date friends of, we just don't. We don't date family members of each other, right? That gets messy, it's unnecessary. So no, we don't do that. And everybody has to be tested for STIs and STDs. Like there's no hanky panky without testing.
Gotcha.
Do you know of his partners, or even do you want to know who he's dating?
Yeah, that's
Are
a
you
good
free?
question. So that brings up the types of interactions between what we call metas. METAS, metas. These are people who are dating your person, right? Your partner is dating, or people that I'm dating. That would be his meta or metas, and they will be mine. So there are some people like myself. We have what they call parallel. I know of them. I know their names. I know a little bit about them because we don't spend a whole lot of time talking about who they are, what they say, what they do. I know they exist. My partner and I keep a calendar, a shared calendar. So I'll know who he's dating. He'll know who I'm dating. But we're parallel. No, I do not have conversations with his partners. I'm not interested. There's something else called don't ask, don't tell. There are some people who don't even want to know. They don't have a calendar. If you're not answering my phone call on Friday, don't tell me what you were doing. I don't care. I don't want to know. Then there are some people who they call it garden party or kitchen table. So kitchen table is metas will get together with their partners and everybody's sitting around the kitchen table eating dinner, and that's how they live. And then there are what they call garden party styles where they don't hang out regularly. But say, for example, the partner is having a 50th birthday party, then that person will invite, all of their partners, but they don't typically engage. When we
You
go
know
through
what?
that again,
I
when we go
think
through
I
that,
think I think this could be easier, and I'm gonna say this. I think a lot of guys see this and they get excited, like, "Oh yeah, I'm with that." And a lot of women would probably be like, "I'm not really with that."
Right.
Well,
But
let
I
me tell
think
you.
when it gets into practice, for those that I'm not saying in this world, but in this lifestyle, outside of this lifestyle, most men, our egos are first thing we're gonna be like, "Yo, what'd he do? Did he do this to you? Was he
Who
bigger
this
than me?
nigga?
Was he bigger than me? Did he last longer than me?" It will drive a dude crazy. It probably drive a dude crazy.
Well, that's an interesting, because you're right. That's where you get into the realm of one penis policy that I don't agree with.
Yeah.
When there's a man who says, I'm the only dick in this circle of women, that's just, and the women, they go for it. They're like, well, he's the man. I'm not, if you out there, I'm going to be out there, or at least I may not be out there, but I would like to have the opportunity to date as well. Right. And it takes a lot of, it takes a lot of security for a man, especially in this society, when men can be really hard on other men, like, yo, you letting him fuck your woman, stuff like that. So yeah, it's hard for men. But if they're going to practice it ethically, then they have to know that if they can date, then their partner should be able to date as well. Whether they exercise that right or not, the partner should be able to have that right as well.
All right.
How did you all connect outside of and I may have missed this up and I apologize. How did you all connect outside of the quote unquote sexual realm, as far as just being like, okay, this is going to be my partner because he or she does this, this, and this, and I'm on board with that?
Okay. What's interesting is my partner actually had 3 partners, consistent, regular partners that he was dating before he met me. And I knew this, and to be completely candid, I was thinking, yeah, this is going to be, he's got, he's polyamorous. Okay. This is going to be fun. I'm going to dibble and dab. I was cool with it. But then he exhibited qualities that I would seriously consider in a life partner. He has strong family values. He's raised 2 wonderful adult children, and he's a grandfather. He's accomplished professionally. There are a lot of things. He's empathetic. He's involved in his community. I mean, so there are all of these things that go beyond the sexual realm that said that person is for me. And he felt the same about me. So just like when when monogamous people date and they decide, hey, this is somebody I really would like to have as my person, it's the same process. It's the same process. And so that's how we connected. And it was, it changed the way he operated with the 3 women that he was dating before me. It changed how he interacted with them. Of course, they were not happy about it. And I don't blame them. They're used to having access to him and his time whenever without any encumbrances.
Right.
And now that he has a primary partner, the rules have changed.
All right, we got some questions here. We're gonna go through these questions. All right.
I'll be right
Yeah.
back.
So I'm gonna run through them and just listen and answer them. So go. Kathy says, "Are children involved, and do they understand your relationship?"
Okay. Well, oh, you want me to answer that
No,
now?
so that's one. Make sure you answer that one. Then she also says, "Once you've identified a secondary person, do you continue to date?" I guess she's saying you got a secondary. Now, are you looking for a third dairy, fourth dairy, fifth dairy? I don't know. I'm
Got it. I
assuming
got it.
that's what. All right. So those 2 questions: the children, How do they feel about it? Do they know? And once you have a secondary,
Okay, so
it's like,
okay. Okay, so children. So age and an appropriate conversation is a big thing, right?
mm-hmm,
Um, that's with anything. But here's the thing: with monogamy in our monogamous world, we're not having conversations with our young children about the actual practice of sex. They see monogamy day in and day out,
mm-hmm,
and we don't ever have a conversation with them about monogamy other than, oh, you're going to find yourself a little girlfriend and you will be, or you're going to find yourself a little boyfriend, y'all going to get married. We don't really have conversations about it. And
yeah,
I do believe that age appropriateness is a big thing. But when I met my partner, his children, his daughters were young women. They were young adult women. But it was important for me to have a conversation with them about what we were doing so that one, they didn't think daddy was out there being a hoe and cheating, or they didn't think, oh, poor Miss Deb, she's being cheated on. They
mm-hmm,
needed to know this is how we live, this is the agreements we've made, because they were young adult women.
yeah,
And I felt that that was an appropriate conversation to have with them. And they, interestingly enough, they already know about it. One daughter was like, nah, monogamy is that's my thing. I'm not for all that.
mm-hmm,
Another daughter was like, you know what? I could see that, but there would have to be some agreements and some. So that was that conversation. I have a friend who is actively ethically non-monogamous, and she also has a daughter who's now in college. But this child has seen her mom since childhood, engage in ethical non-monogamy. But she herself has said, I'm not for that. I would prefer, I prefer monogamy.
yeah,
I think it's not trying to sell your kids on it. It's just letting them know that before you choose monogamy, you have to think about it. Don't choose monogamy just because society says so or because it's a default. Have that hard conversation. Is this what you really want? If monogamy is your thing, then so be it. But have that conversation first.
okay.
And the other
It's,
one about what was the other
it says,
question?
once you've identified a secondary person, do you continue to date?
Oh, well, that's person specific. Um, for me, with my schedule, my work schedule, the demands of my work, the things that I'm doing in the community, I just really don't have time for a lot of people or to date a lot of people outside of my primary partner. So typically when I do date, it is probably, it's typically one other person.
Yeah.
It's just one other person.
So
My
now
partner had,
Eric says, can we ask how many penises are sufficient? And and how is this type of relationship same or different from polygamy or swinging? I'll answer that one because she's been educating us, Eric. You got on late. Um, when we talk about ethical non-monogamy, it's an umbrella. So all those other things fall up under this, right? So they are all divisions or types or modifications uh, of ethical non-monogamy. So swinging, they probably just out, just tonight you get it in with whoever you're gonna get it in, me, you, them, us, uses, and they do their thing. Polygamy is, hey, I'm the dude, and I got a mistress and a girlfriend. I got a wife, a mistress, and a girlfriend. So that's what you're looking at. They are a unit. They are a couple, just like we would be with our wives, but they just have some stipulations and some understandings that, hey, it's okay, and I'm gonna say it in a loose term. It's okay you tip out. Do your thing. Keep it over there. But it's gotta be like this, and this. And if you decide to tip out, do your thing. But it's gotta be like this, and this. That's just a simple way to put it, I guess. And if I'm wrong, Deb, help me. Is there anything exclusive in your relationship? Is what he's asking next. Is there anything exclusive? I think they are exclusive. you want to ask me.
Well, the only thing now that's interesting. That's a good question. So, what's exclusive to us is our expression that we love each other.
Mm-hmm.
We do not have sexual exclusivity at all. We do not have that in our relationship. But what we do have exclusive is that he loves me, I love him. We identify and we operate. Well, I should say we operate as a monogamous couple in that. We meet each other's families. We engage each other's families. We do not discuss our other partner. We don't discuss with our family and friends about the other partners, and so that's what I would say is exclusive to us. Is the type of relationship we have.
He's asking, where did the term ethical non-monogamy come from?
Ah, good. Your question is good. Here's a little bit that I know, that it actually is a term used. It was used by lesbian women, and it really was not for men. It was for women to during the sexual revolution in the 60s. It has, of course, been overran by men, but they wanted to be ethical, and they did not want to be monogamous to just one man or to one person. And it kind of spills over to like women having autonomy over their bodies. And so that's my loose understanding of it. But that's a good question. I'm gonna have to get back to you on the history of it and probably share it in some notes somewhere.
Okay. Hey, you got another question? Anybody else out there on
But
the
wait a
front
minute
porch
about the whole is one penis
sufficient? That's
I
it.
want to ask.
He said,
I
how
want to
many
answer that
penises?
question about the number of penises. How many penises is enough? How
Yeah,
many
how many
penises?
penises are
None of it.
sufficient?
None of it. It's sufficient when I say it's sufficient. When it's done, it's sufficient. If it's one, it's sufficient. If it's two, it's when I say it's sufficient.
It's when you say it's sufficient.
Now,
Okay.
but you know what? Here's the funny thing. It's when I say it's sufficient.
Got it. That answer
But
your
listen,
question, E?
seriously, there are people who are actually
Who or what?
But see, from a man's perspective, especially a monogamous man and men who are just really steeped in their masculinity, they definitely have a hard time envisioning or thinking about their woman having sex because, men are taught, and I hate to say this, is, our society has grooms men to think of women as their possession. But, for me, think about it. It's a flex. When that's big dick energy, when your man was like, oh, okay, you had a date, cool, but you still coming home and we still gonna do us, cool, okay, all right. I'm
Checkmate.
just saying.
Big move.
If is there a certain amount of time that your outside dates last? Is there like for you and your partner, is there a limitation on, okay,
yeah,
you can't go this far, you can't they can't last this far, or that impedes?
Questions are really good. Yeah, that's a part of our agreement, right? Our agreement is our dates. Our date nights are Tuesday nights and Thursday nights, and that starts at 5:00 on that Tuesday night until 7:00 the next morning. We do our morning check-in every morning, 7:00, whether, if we're apart and have a date, we're checking in. Hey, are you good? So we do a check-in. Now, whether the date is an overnight, sometimes they're not, sometimes they are. But the agreement is the date starts at 5 on a Tuesday or a Thursday night, and it lasts until the next day at 7:00 in the morning. Oh, and and another thing, we do not travel with our partners. We're not getting on the plane doing weekends and vacations with secondary partners.
Come
That was
over
another
here, get it in and
question.
get out. Come over, get in and get out. Don't leave no evidence.
Let me give you sufficient penises. Be out. Oh, you want?
So it's just like the dude is
What
preaching.
happened? What about the sufficient penises?
No, I was
Huh?
like, I was
What
piggybacking on what Joe was saying. Like, you got what's that? 12 hours? No, what's that?
you
12
froze.
hours?
You froze. Adrian, you froze.
Okay, can you hear me now? I'm good.
I got you.
I can hear you now.
Okay.
Yeah, I got you.
No, I was just piggybacking off what Joe was saying. Just you got 12 hours to get your life together.
Yeah. My wife out of town. Slide on through. She'll be back at 7 o'clock in the morning. You got to get out of here. And don't leave no evidence.
But that's more like cheating.
Yeah, that's definitely
Yeah.
cheating. Yeah.
But let me be clear about something. When I'm at my partner's house, I really do not want to see condoms. I mean, if our relationships are separate, then let's be separate. I don't need to see the evidence of some other partner that has been over here. Let's be respectful about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Seriously, like if he typically don't entertain or have guys at my house. And I think that may be a gender thing. You know what I mean? Like I'm the woman. So a lot of men, the men that I've dated pretty much host me.
Yeah.
So I usually, go to their place, and I don't date married men either.
Okay.
Yeah,
That could pose
so
a problem.
yeah,
Yeah,
for
that could pose
me,
a problem.
my profession, I'm not trying to be all hemmed up in that kind of way. So I choose not to date married men. So the men that I date are, single, at least legally they're single. They don't pose any complications.
Okay. Okay. Anybody in the front porch world got any more questions? If not, our hour is almost up. So, uh,
Well, if anyone has any questions, feel free. You can DM me. Seriously, like if you have questions. So to give a shameless plug, I'm the moderator of Black and Poly DMV. It's a Facebook group called Black and Poly DMV. It's a larger group that was founded by Ron Young. And so what was the other guy's name? But I know Ron Young, and they have splinter groups throughout the country.
your
Hey
girlfriend said
Eugenia,
hey to you.
hey girl, hey. And I'm the moderator of the DMV, which is the District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia. So
Southwest
feel free.
DC.
Yeah, where Southwest Anacostia?
No. The waterfront.
Southeast.
Oh, the waterfront. Okay.
Yeah, that's where I was born and raised.
Where are you now? In the Carolinas?
Yeah, I'm in Durham now.
Durham now?
Down
So
here.
yeah, but if you want to join DMV, Black and Poly DMV, definitely join. If not, just to learn more and listen and hear about what people talk about in the ethical non-monogamous polyamory world. Feel free to Joe to link them to me and Facebook Messenger.
All right, that'll work. Deb, I appreciate your
If you
time,
can.
dear. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you being open to discuss. And keep in mind, we may have you back again because we might broaden this out a little bit. So don't stray too far. I know we know how to get in touch with each other. So you all everybody have a wonderful evening.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And have a wonderful rest of the week. Be safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Tell your partner, thank you. Thank him for letting us borrow you for an hour. And we're going to sign off and say good night, y'all.
Good night,
Talk to y'all.
everybody. Thank
Enjoyed
you.
it. Absolutely enjoyed it. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Not a problem. Have a good one.
All
Bye.
right.
You too.